Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. The mother of 17-year-old Mackenzie Lehman, who was killed in a car crash 6 years ago, is now leading an effort she hopes will prevent other families from enduring a similar tragedy.
Lehman was coming home from work when her car slid off a Highway 441 overpass during a snowstorm and fell several feet onto Highway 96 in Little Chute. Jason Zimmerman spoke to Lehman's mother about what she's doing to keep other teen drivers safe. He's live in Grand Chute with that story. Jason.
Cami, I first spoke to Allison O'Hearn just after that crash when she lost her daughter about 6 years ago. This is a tragedy that changed her life, including her job, which is now leading a nonprofit agency, Safe Driving Matters, with the goal of educating young adults before there's a deadly accident. Stemming from the loss of her daughter, Mackenzie Lehman, Allison O'Hearn hopes the launch of the nonprofit organization she founded, Safe Driving Matters, turns grief into something positive.
The main goal is to save a life. That's the most important thing to me. I hope to prevent any other families from going through the experience that my family did. A tragedy like this, it rips you apart.
O'Hearn so far has reached out to hundreds of high school students, providing presentations and a groundbreaking court diversion program called Safe Life. The initiative is now a pilot program in Outagamie County in partnership with Court Commissioner Judge Brian Figge.
He was frustrated that he'd see teenagers in there that would come in with their parents. The parents would say, "Where do I pay?" They'd go next door and nobody learned anything.
Teens who participate will attend a driving safety class at Fox Valley Technical College instead of paying a fine or receiving points on their license. O'Hearn is hoping to raise $30,000 to expand outreach efforts, with Mackenzie's former employer, Rennie's Group, recently making a $2,500 contribution.
We are grateful for Kenzie's time at Rennis. We are grateful for the lives she touched, and we are grateful for the work that Safe Driving Matters is doing to carry her legacy forward.
The hope is Kenzie's story will inspire other teens to make their choices matter.
Whether it be speaking in court, that's what I was doing this morning, just came from court, speaking with youth there, or speaking to high school students, that really is my driving force. Kenzie, I feel like she's always here, she's the reason that I do this, and I think that she'd be really happy that we were able to take such a tragic event and turn it into something good.
O'Hearn hopes to reduce the number of repeat offenses among those teen drivers, which right now is roughly about 67% within the first 6 months. Reporting live in Grand Chute, Jason Zimmerman, Action 2 News.